All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Geopolitical Trends, where truth matters. Excited to be with you as always, but I am even more excited today because I have none other than Gerald Celente. You guys know who he is, and you've been asking me to bring him on. So was kind enough to allocate time for us here. So let me bring him in right away. Hi, Gerald.
Hello, thank you so much. And you said geopolitical trends. Most people have no idea about the geopolitical trends.
You're absolutely correct, Gerald. So, and this is exactly why we are very, very excited here, and the community is very excited. And they know I don't sugarcoat things. I am not that type of people. When I say something, I mean it.
Yep.
That's just my personality, how I am. So, let me first, guys, for those who do not know who Gerald is the founder of the Trends Journal Research Institute, by the way, which, by the way, this has been around for so long and has been accurate in its predictions. So Gerald was the one who founded this particular research institute. He's the founder and the director of this weekly Trends Journal magazine, which, by the way, I do have a link for you guys there, and I'm gonna share it with you on not only on the banner, but also on the, I'm going to give you guys a link to it. So speaking of the link, make sure to subscribe to this particular, I'm going to put it in the chat box for you guys, so you'll have it there. Make sure to subscribe to this journal, because it's very, very, very interesting, guys. You get to learn a lot. So, and Gerald was kind enough to give you guys a 10% discount on the Trends Journal when you subscribe. When you go to the link, just click on subscribe and enter the code. The code is my name, David. Okay? And you'll get a discount there. Very, very, very interesting. So, all right, let's get into what we need to cover, Gerald, because we have a lot to cover, and I'd like to really have your input. First of all, how do you assess what took place for the so-called 12-day war that ended between Iran and Israel, which, by the way, it never ended anyway? How do you assess that?
Well, let's look again. You do geopolitics. Look what the major media called it. They called it a conflict. Mm-hmm. It's not a conflict. It's a war. And yeah. This is your Trends Journal magazine back in 2012, when it used to be a quarterly. Now it's a weekly. And by the way, when you put the link, David, and you said you get 10% off, it's the grand total of $2.50 a week, pennies a day. And we're giving the people everything that we can. And one of our mottos is history before it happens. This is an article from back then, I got to find it here, of Netanyahu speaking at the United Nations, all right? That was the cartoon character that we did of him. This is 2012. And there he is saying that a nuclear bomb is ready to go off in Iran. Back then. And this is what we wrote. In a subsequent appearance before the General Assembly, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave a speech, you ready? That should have been denounced as the ravings of a lunatic, and put on a performance that should have had him laughed off the stage. While declaring that he may postpone a military attack against Iran's nuclear facilities, he launched a tirade that compared the Iranian government to Al-Qaeda, which he described as, quote, a fanatic ideology bent on world domination, adding that, quote, it makes little difference whether there's lethal weapons or in the hands of the world's most dangerous terrorists regime or the world's most dangerous terrorist organization. To drive the point home of the danger Iran posed and why it must be stopped, he displayed a cartoon diagram of a bomb, so infantile in its execution that even the most provincial among the UN delegates should have seen it as either an insult to their intelligence or surreal. And we go on. A cartoon bomb that this little murderous SOB who slaughters Palestinians every day warned the world back in 2012, if we don't bomb Iran, they're going to bomb us. All right?
Yeah. Indeed, and that's been the argument for so long. I mean, even during my days in Washington, we used to get those cables coming at the time. Oh, Iran is developing this. That's coming from Tel Aviv. I was like, what are you guys talking about? So, and that's exactly where this has been heading out towards now. Now, here is the question, the concern, not the question, Gerald. The concern I have as an American citizen. Why is our country dragging itself into a war that has nothing to do with our interest, has nothing to do with our strategic interest or the interest for every citizen? Why is this?
Because you got sick maniacs running a country near you. You got it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite little clown? You like that little Mertz jerk over there in Germany? Heil Mertz?
Yeah.
We have to stop those Russians. If we don't stop them, they will attack all of Europe. We only killed 25 million of them in Operation Barbarossa in World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little slime ball. Oh, where's he from? BlackRock? Oh, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street? The three companies that own what? Over 80% of the S&P 500? The little slime ball, ballless little clown boy. We're going to borrow $1 trillion to build up our military in Germany, and we'll put some money into the infrastructure. Oh, Germany that's been in a recession for 2 years, the third largest economy in the world, largest in Europe, heading for the third year, and now you're going to go in debt. And now what's all of Europe doing? 5% of our gross domestic products going into defense. Oh, and how about that little guy, Root? A little nothing of a little clown boy, ballless little slime ball. That's the NATO chief now. That was what? The prime minister of the Netherlands for how many years? For almost 14?
Yeah.
Sucking off the public tit and calls Trump his daddy. All right. Why is this going on? You got a bunch of freaks running the world.
Yeah.
How about Genocide Joe? Here's Israel, a country the size of New Jersey. 7 million people. And look at the murder that they're committing in front of everybody's eyes. And when you come out against it, you're an anti-Semite.
Yeah. Indeed.
Okay, what did Trump get? Over $100 million from Sheldon Adelson? Estimated, depending on whose numbers you say, over $200 million from his wife, Marian Adelson, when he ran for president the last time. The totally Zionist government that we have that supports it. They don't speak for the people. They only speak for the money.
Yeah. And you're spot on, Gerald. And we're going to be talking about, as we move forward into this particular with the bill that's just been passed, and I'll tie it to all this. Now, let's, in your assessment, you've been around long enough to know. You've been around, and I've been aware of your predictions, your insights into way back in the day. I didn't know you in person, of course, but I was aware of that. How do you see, in your judgment, Gerald, how do you see now this so-called inevitable war between Iran and Israel, knowing that Netanyahu is right now in Washington? And I bet you he is here to push for the U.S. to conduct the war on behalf of Israel. What can we expect? What do you see happening?
Why don't I sell you a whole load of crap and BS, all right? Let's go back before Iran was attacked by Israel, an unprovoked war. Look at what all the prostitute media was selling. Oh, there's a fallout between Trump and Netanyahu. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a total lie. All they do is lie to us. They're prostitutes. They're media whores. They get paid to put out. by their corporate pimps and government whoremasters. So yeah, they're together again. Oh, and what happened the last time Netanyahu was here? When he gave a speech of like 50 minutes and got over 50 standing ovations from the little gutless clown boys and girls in Congress?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to ramp up this war. They're going to keep killing the Palestinians. They're going to keep stealing more land in the West Bank. Oh, they only drove out 40,000 people out of the West Bank over the last 3 months. 40,000. They killed over 1,000 since 2023 when Hamas attacked in West Bank. And the crap that they spew out, these are settlers in the West Bank. They're not settlers, they're invaders in violation of the Geneva Convention and Article 242 of the United Nations. And shove that crap up your you-know-what that spews out of the mouth of that fat little slob jerk off over there that was the governor of Arkansas that's now the United States
ambassador
to Israel, Huckleberry, Huckle Jerk. God told Abraham 3,500 years ago that this land belongs to the Jewish people. Hey, Gatson, what does God have lockjaw? Hasn't spoke to anybody else since? I got to believe this crap? I got to believe? Why? How dare you not swallow the crap that I love to swallow? Oh, what did Biden call himself? A proud Zionist?
Yeah.
Oh, a political organization made up by Theodore Herzl back in what, 1890?
Wow. Yeah, and that's exactly where it's a big concern. It's a big concern where this is headed out, given where our economy is. So, but before I'll get into that, I need to have your input, Gerald, on one aspect that has not got much coverage. This one has to do with the role of some Arab states, and I'm referring here to Saudi Arabia, to Jordan, United Arab Emirates, Egypt. In your opinion, what kind of deal they cut with both Israel and the US behind closed doors, while telling the Muslim world, oh, we stand with the Palestinians, we do this and do that, when in reality they do squat?
Oh, what did Trump's son-in-law got a $2 billion deal from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, Jared Kushner, he did get one, yes.
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, Jared Kushner?
Yes.
The Jared Kushner, again, in your Trends Journal, March 2024.
Oh, 2024 for that one. Yeah.
Yep. March 2024, he said, the land in Gaza is, quote, very valuable waterfront property. And we should move the Palestinians into the Negev desert. That Jared Kushner, the Jared Kushner, whose father, when Netanyahu came to America, used to stay with the Kushners. How about Trump's? Oh, they're going to build something in United Arab Emirates and Qatar, one of the places over there, another Trump hotel. If the Arabs were in support of the Palestinians, there would be an Arab oil embargo like they did back when I was a young guy, back in 1973, when the Arab nations opposed Israel and the United States' support for its Yom Kippur War. All right? That changed it.
Yeah.
They're doing nothing. All they're interested in is making money. And look at the way, the royal family. Shove this royal crap up your you-know-what.
Yeah.
If they were Italian, you'd call them a mafia. Royal family. A bunch of criminals.
Yeah.
Again, the royal family. Remember little King Charles went to Canada recently, dressed up in his costume with all the medals and in a carriage, horse and carriage. Oh, the British, where the sun never sets on the British Empire, where they slaughtered people all over the world, and you're calling them a royal family? They're a crime syndicate.
Yeah.
But roll out the red carpet and kiss their ring, bend over, be a gutless little boy and girl.
Yeah. And nobody's willing to come forward and state what's factual, state the truth that is. So regardless, royal family or not, who gives a damn about that? So
Royal family. What a bunch of crap.
yeah, I know.
Who the hell
Gerald.
you talking to?
I,
Hey,
I
I have a royal family, all right? My parents and aunts and uncles, I'm so blessed to who they are. Shove your crap up.
yeah.
Don't you give me your royal crap.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're royal family. We don't pee or poo. We're better than you.
I share your frustration. I do share your frustration. So unfortunately, people needs to wake up. That's the bottom line to that one. So now let's go back to, because I still need to have some really clarification for the community to have an understanding. And this is one of the reasons why usually they are interested in learning about what's going on. What lies ahead, in your opinion? You've seen a lot, Gerald, throughout the years in your experience. What lies ahead for the Middle East, given the turmoil that's going on, in your opinion?
One of my lines is, when all else fails, they take you to war.
Indeed.
Let's go back to the Great Depression. What followed it? World War II.
Yeah.
Anybody Google up Franklin Roosevelt seizes Japanese assets. Google it up. History Today comes up. Mainstream media.
Yeah.
On July, I think it's 26, 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt seized all Japanese assets in America. And you know why? Those dirty Japanese invaded French Indochina. Wait a minute. French Indochina? What the hell are the French doing in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia? And you're calling it French Indochina? Oh, we're stealing their rubber, their tin, rape, pillage. We're doing whatever we want. The French Foreign Legion. Oh, okay. The Dutch East Indies, what the hell are the Dutch doing in Indonesia? Oh, the same thing that the French are doing there. Stealing, robbing, pillaging. And the British the United States put sanctions on Japan and cut off, you ready? 3/4 of their global trade and 88% of their imported oil. They only import 100%. Can't understand why they bombed Pearl Harbor. That was July, August, September, October, November, December. They don't tell you this. When all else fails, they take you to war. People forgot about the Great Depression, the war. Now let's go back to Middle East. Again, it's in your Trends Journal. The facts are all there. Before Hamas attacked on October 7, 2023, which we're totally opposed to what they did, there were 39 weeks of protests going on in Israel. Mm-hmm. Hundreds of thousands of people were taken to the streets. 39 weeks of protest against Netanyahu's Judicial Reform Act, which basically said, you're not going to let me go to court on the crimes that they say I committed. We're getting rid of the judiciary. The politicians will be in charge. 39 weeks of protests. All right? Not my language, the language of Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel. Back then, he said, Israel is in a civil war. Hamas attacks on October 7th, 2023. Everybody forgot about the 39 weeks of protests and the hatred they had for Netanyahu. Now, we only write the facts. 3 days after the attack, it was reported that the United States and Egypt both warned Israel that the attack was going to happen. And Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, which we subscribe to, and others reported months later that all the facts were there, that they knew the attack was going to happen. They let it happen. When all else fails, they take you to war. Now let's go back and tracking trends, by the way, is making connections between different fields. And when I said before about people don't know anything about geopolitics, this is the Trends Journal back in 2014. See how happy that guy is? It's about the United States overthrow the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in Ukraine. that people have no idea that ever happened. So they have no idea about the facts. So now going back and making connections between different fields. I mentioned before what that little slime ball did, that they did in Germany, Herzl, not Herzl, Merz.
Merz.
The economy's in recession, and they're building up the defense budget. They're doing the same in Europe, selling the lines that that's going to build up their economy. No, it doesn't. Economies are built up when the products that are made are consumed by the consumers in that nation.
Yeah.
Make the products and they buy them. That's what brings the economy. These products are being made and they're only enriching the military industrial complex. That President Dwight D. Eisenhower said is robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, sweat of the labors, and the future of the children. So anyway, going back to the Middle East, they're going to keep ramping up the war. Netanyahu's going to do everything he can to stay in power. Oh, they just bombed Syria last week. Oh, and they're bombing Lebanon again. Yeah. Oh, they're bombing Yemen. So no, they're going to keep ramping it up.
And how is that going to impact the global economy moving forward? Because I don't see, correct me if I'm wrong, Gerald, I don't see how, for example, this is just an example, a hypothetical that is, let's say the second war between Iran and Israel started, I just don't see any reason why Iran will not shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And if they do that, I don't see any other reason why the Houthis will not shut down Bab el-Mandeb, and for that matter, the Red Sea altogether. And what is that's going to do to the global energy markets? And that's why my concern, and I'd like to have your input, Gerald, moving forward. How is that going to now have a major impact on the global economy moving forward, knowing where we are here in the US economically, which the government is not disclosing the truth to the American people, where Europe is based on what you stated earlier, and where Asia is moving forward technologically, financially, infrastructure, and so forth.
If Iran and Israel go to war again, it's going to be the beginning of the end of life on Earth. I know a guy, he's Jewish. He went to Israel for a wedding. He got to Israel the day before Israel attacked Iran. He just got back. He couldn't get back for a while. He just got back. I just spoke to him yesterday. Every night they were in bunkers. He showed me pictures of the destruction that are not being shown to the American people of what Iran has done to Israel. There's a thing called the Samson option, S-A-M-S-O-N. Israel says if they lose, they go nuclear. Look it up. That's my greatest concern. And you mentioned something else, and I forgot. The other question you asked about...
if they shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and the Houthis will shut down Bab el-Mandeb, what is that going to do to the global energy supply?
Again, let's go back to 1973.
Oh, yeah. Bigger.
The price, when they put the embargo on, the price of a barrel of oil quadrupled. And that's the same thing that'll happen now. It will crash the global economy and the equity markets. Oh, again, what you were saying, now remember, you said about how Asia and all the other countries, they've had enough of this, America's economic and geopolitical hegemony, and the BRICS and on and on.
Yeah.
There's going to be a dot-com bust. The markets are way overvalued. What no one's talking about, that everybody's forgotten about, we're only in July, it only happened in January, when a company called DeepSeek came out and said, no, it's not costing us $100 million to make this chat stuff, AI stuff. We did it for $6 million. And we don't need these big chips. We could do it with smaller chips. And what did NVIDIA stock drop one day? 17%?
Yeah.
Lost 600 billion bucks. Again, tracking trends, you make connections between different fields. All things are connected. And Chief Seattle said, like the blood which unites us all. Let's go back to the year 2000, 25 years ago. The guy that I can't stand when he ran for president, another slime ball. I can't stand any of them, to make it clear. Bill Clinton. This is a shirt that I did.
Slick Willie.
Yep. Every time he got pants with his pants down, bombs away over Baghdad. I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. She always sucked my dick. Okay, gotcha. Before he brought China into the World Trade Organization, they officially came in 2 weeks after 9/11, 2001. 10% of Chinese 18-year-olds went to college. Today, almost 70%. Now I'm going back to AI. But the young people are totally high-tech AI addicted. They are going to rule the world in AI. They're putting their money, their energy into it. Again, trends are born, they grow, they mature, reach old age, and die. And by the way, some of my books were trend tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine, Trends 2000, international bestseller. I've been at this for 45 years. You don't invest all your dough in the first companies that were invented in the new technology.
Yeah.
AI was only born 3 years ago, 2022. It's an infant. You don't invest all your dough in those companies. So they've overinvested in the IPOs and the IPO wannabes and the new AI companies. China's going to lead the charge here, and it's going to bring down the markets big time. And again, this is your Trends Journal back when it was a quarterly. .com this. We forecasted the .com bust in the fall of 1999. We said it would bust by the year in the second quarter of 2000, which it did in March. But again, going back to when all else fails, they take you to war. We're in a serious recession.
Yeah.
What happens in 2001? Oh, the NASDAQ was down only 80%. 9/11. People forgot all about the .com bust. So that's what we're going through now. And again, when all else fails, they take you to war. So we're looking for a .com bust.
Yeah.
If the wars continue to go on, Brent crude could go to $120 a barrel, and that will crash the equity markets and the global economy.
Yeah. Wow, that's somber, but it's the reality, is the fact that the possibility could happen. And just because I wanted the community to understand, whether they are American viewers here or not, it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. The global economy impacts, it will impact you. It doesn't matter where you are at. So that's the concern that I have about this. Now, while we're at the economy, I'd like to have your take on to the recent BRICS summit, the one that just took place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Where? Go ahead, Gerald.
There's going to be the death of the dollar has already begun.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about the dollar's down, 10% year to date, right? It's the worst decline since I talked before about the Yom Kippur War, 1973.
Yeah.
It's the worst decline since then. Now let's put more trends together. The BRICS have had enough of the United States geopolitical and economic hegemony. They're going to come out with something that's going to do away with the dollar. And very important, Trump keeps pushing the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. If anybody doesn't believe that Trump has power over Powell, the Fed head, to low interest rates, you better grow up, because we only put the facts out in the Trends Journal. Let's go back to 2018 when Trump was president. What happened? The Dow had its worst December since the Great Depression. What did Trump do? He forced Powell to lower interest rates. What did Powell do? He lowered them in January 2019. The lower interest rates go, the deeper the dollar falls. The deeper the dollar falls, the higher gold prices rise. Because as the dollar goes down, gold is dollar-based, it's cheaper to buy gold in countries where the currencies are going up. So that's what we see happening on that level. So the BRICS have had enough of the United States. And again, we're only a country of what, 340 something million people, depending on whose numbers, 343, 347.
Yeah.
Out of what, 8 billion? You don't have to be good at math to figure this out. And so there's going to be a movement more and more against the United States. They've had enough of it.
Wow.
And then again, I've been at this again 45 years. Every year we do top trends. Never before was one of our top trends a wild card. And Trump is playing the wild card. You never know what's going to happen. And again, there's the whole thing on tariffs. Says one thing, does another thing.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, what was July 9th, they're supposed to raise the tariffs again? Will he do it? It's a guessing game. And he keeps changing it. So we don't know the truth of what's going to happen.
Very interesting. So, liking this video so far? Don't just be a watcher. Go ahead and hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And don't forget to tap the bell so you will not miss any of my videos or live streams. This way, you will be supporting a channel that stands for the truth and objective reporting. The choice is yours. Thanks for your support.
That's supporting the people.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to understand. Again, it's just prostitutes. Going back to Slick Willie Clinton, a little scumbag of a shit. Again, I'm the same age. I'm the same age as Trump, these guys. All draft dodgers during the Vietnam War. But these flawless little guys love war, don't they, huh? Oh, like little Joe Biden. What do you got, 5 draft deferments? Trump 5? Or Trump had his bone spur? Anyway, going back to the truth in the media, slimeball Bill Clinton gave us the 1996 Federal Communications Act. That let the big companies take over the communications business. There were thousands of independent radio stations, newspapers, and TV stations back then. Now, 6 companies control 92% of the media. That's a fact. That brought to you by Slick
Willie.
So what you're giving the people and what the people need, again, it's so important to understand what's going on, because I'm going to tell you, there's a false flag event that people rally around the president. I mentioned what happened with the FDR putting sanctions on Japan. Before Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, 80% of the people were against getting involved in what was going on in Europe. After the war, after the attack, boop, everybody followed. Let's go back to a little guy with a pair of cojones smaller than a mothball, an ignorant little nothing of a daddy's boy, George W. Bush. I mentioned that before 9/11, the NASDAQ was down 80%. His ratings were in the toilet. 9/11 happens. What happened? We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden, get her alive.
Yeah.
90% of the people swallow the crap spewing out of that little clown boy's mouth, all right? 90%. Oh, and Osama bin Laden had nothing to do with it. Oh, the Osama bin Laden that, of course, nobody remembers. Another little peanut boy, the peanut farmer, little Jimmy Carter, who everybody looks up to. A little slime ball, may he rot in hell. Oh, yeah. That gave us the Mujahideen. We got to stop those Russians in Afghanistan. Oh, brought to you by Brzezinski, that little arrogant little piece of crap from Poland. Oh, yeah, that was the Trump guy, the Biden, convoy. Oh, his daughter now does TV on MSNBC. Oh, yeah, that club. Yeah. Gave us the Mujahideen. Oh, wasn't Osama bin Laden with the Mujahideen? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we won't talk about that. People don't have a clue about any of it. And so what you're giving the people is what the people need. And what we're doing in the Trends Journal, we're helping them prevail and prosper in these dangerous times ahead. I've been at this a lot of years. Never in my life have we been in such dangerous times. Never.
Well, it is very concerning, and the problem is that most American, at least for us Americans, I can't speak for foreigners in their own countries, but at least for us here, not everybody is open minded to hearing a different perspective. You know, they get glued into the idiot box, watching CNN, watching Fox, watching NBC, and all that. But that's fine if that's what they want. But at least they need to at least be open to hearing a different perspective, so they can at least learn about the facts before they reach their conclusions. And
But again, it's been going on forever.
well, you will think, Gerald, by now people will wake up. I mean,
Yeah.
how long does it take?
Ben, what's your favorite war? You like the Peloponnesian War? Maybe you like the 100-Year War. What was your? Oh, the War of Roses was lovely. What's your favorite crusade?
Yeah.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. All right?
Yeah.
They're going on forever. Hey, how about Napoleon's march to Moscow? Oh, he only left Poland with what, 420,000 troops and came back with 10,000? Again, you know, when I was a young guy, you know, I'm so blessed the parents I've had. I'm a young guy, like 14, 13 years old, and I'm listening to the mainstream stuff. And my father's driving. He turns around, sitting in the back seat. He said to me in Italian, "Papagallo, parrot, stop repeating what everybody else is saying and think for yourself."
He was right. He was right.
Then, as I started to learn, and I realized he said it to me maybe 10 times. And I realized that anytime I said something, I better have the facts to back it up. And then when I started learning things, I say, "Pop," I said, "why don't people do something?" What? He said to me, "Son, take it easy. People have little minds." And there's a guy by the name of Samuel Adams, one of the founding fathers. It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. And that's what we have to unite, that irate, tireless minority. Forget about the rest. They'll follow.
Yeah.
When we went into the Revolutionary War, what they say, less than 5% of the people supported it. After it was all over, what happened? About half of them supported it.
Mm.
Yep. And again, there's the quotes by where is it over here? Let me see if I can find it. You ready? People say, "Oh, Celente gets angry." He who is not angry when there is just cause for anger is immoral. Why? Because anger looks to the good of justice. And if you can live amid injustice without anger, you are immoral as well as unjust. Thomas Aquinas.
Wow. That's spot on.
I'm angry because I don't like to see the slaughter of innocent people. I launched Occupy Peace movement over a decade ago. So I put my money where my heart and soul are.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it not because you're here, but I'm saying it because it's a fact. You know, you have brought pragmatism and realism into the conversation for the reality and the truth that people needs to hear. They might not feel comfortable with it, but again, it's on them. You know, and if they don't feel comfortable, then that becomes on them to look inward and assess where they are, because you can't be just saying what people wants to hear. That's what's the point of all this, you know. And this is exactly for you guys. Well, that's what my point, you know. When I bring in guests here, is for you to learn something. This is not about just spending time here. Gerald has things to do. I have things to do, but sometimes you put all that aside and share the knowledge with people so they can at least be educated, be informed, and do something with that information. This is not about just consuming it and sit down. You're gonna have to do something with it. So I thank you for that, Gerald. Throughout the years, since you've been really pushing the narrative forward into helping people to wake up and understand the reality. So,
Well, thank you very much.
I wanna before I let you go, I have to ask your opinion about the bill that just passed, and especially for our American audience. It's because a lot of people have no clue, and if I can have your wisdom on this, Gerald.
Again, we wrote whole articles on it in the Trends Journal. And again, we only go by the facts. Let's go back to 2017 when Trump was president. And he passed his tax bill, right? What did he say? He was going to help the people. According to the Tax Policy Center, the 1% got all the benefits.
Yeah.
No, they got, 64% of the benefits.
Yeah.
This is from your Trends Journal last week. As we just detailed in articles for this week's Trends Journal, before his tax bill was approved by the Senate, that was last week. The House hadn't approved it yet. We wrote that his tax cut bill in 2017 enriched the rich. This one will further enrich the rich and just give a few bucks in tax breaks and benefits to we the people of Slavelandia. As with his 2017 tax cut bill, according to the Tax Foundation, the Senate bill that was just passed rewards the top 1% of Americans, the richest of the richest that earn $663,000 or more in 2025.
Wow.
And again, the tax bill gives more money to the military industrial complex. Remember, he sold himself as a peace candidate, and adds $3.3 trillion, of course, as we know, to the national debt. And what else do we have here? And as we have detailed, the U.S. budget deficit surged past $1 trillion, setting a year-to-date record. And back in March, Donald Trump and Elon Musk promised that Musk's government efficiency will cut the deficit by firing hundreds of thousands of federal workers. However, most of those efforts are either tied up in court or have been reversed by judges. The Trump and his administration have argued that the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts over the next 10 years that Republicans have passed will not add to the deficit. So let's go back. This is only going to enrich the rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to bring down the value of the dollar. And let's go back to 2017. Trump said that they're going to use this money in tax cuts for capital improvements for the corporations. And that would build up the economy. The facts are all there. We only write about them. In 2018, the biggest year of stock buybacks on record.
Wow.
He also posted, quote, "It is obvious that with the insane spending of this bill, which increases the debt ceiling by a record $5 trillion, that we live in a one-party country." This is Musk. The Porky Pig Party, and wrote, "How can you call yourself the Freedom Cause if you vote for a debt slavery bill with the biggest debt ceiling increase in history?" So here's our trend forecast. This is again before they passed the House.
Yeah.
On a grander scale, which the mainstream media has not reported, is that the tax bill will be very negative for the U.S. dollar. Again, in this and previous Trends journals, we've greatly detailed that the U.S. debt level is escalating the death of the dollar, and now this tax bill has made a bad situation worse. Already, because of and again, we talked about The dollar slumping 10%, the worst since 1973. And gold prices will keep rising as a result of this.
Wow.
So that's where we see it going.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because literally a lot of people are so confused about this bill that just passed, and they thinking that it's going to be for the benefit of Americans. It is not. You can't trust Trump for what he's saying. I care less for what the government is. It's just for you guys to know. That is the reason why I wanted to ask Gerald, so you hear it directly from him. And this brings me back to my point about the Trends Journal. Once again, I'm going to put the link for you in the description, in the chat box here, and you guys go sign up for that one. I put the link for it right here for you guys, right here on the screen. And remember, when you go to the site, you go to the subscriptions, you enter my name, David, for the code, and you get a 10% discount on it. This is if you want to learn. Here's your opportunity. I get the letters, I read them, so I am aware of what Gerald puts out there. So also, while we are at it here, to those who do not know, that Gerald has a YouTube channel. So that's the one. That channel got big, Gerald. I remember it when it started. So very, very interesting. So you guys check it out, and go subscribe there as well. So
it's only $2.50 a week.
Yeah, for that one, it's
worth it. And it's like almost 200 pages a week, from high-tech science to technocracy to geopolitics, economics, on and on. We're giving the people AI, whole sections. We're giving them everything we can. Yeah. And again, with our business, it's not what you like or what you want. It's what is.
Exactly.
And we're political atheists. We don't take sides on anything. We call it the way it is. And thank you so much for what you're doing. I very much appreciate being on with you.
Of course, Gerald. So it's always a pleasure to have you here. So, and by the way, guys, I did put a full bio for Gerald in the description under the video. So go there and check it out. And once again, we are so grateful to you, Gerald, for carving out time for us here. And we look forward to having you again. So, by the way, before I let you go, there is one question from an avid supporter. So I'm going to share it right here. Army with Harmony, thank you for your super sticker. And the question for Gerald. Gerald's thought on modern monetary theory, MMT.
We're going to go to central bank digital currencies. Wow. Everything's going digital. This way they know every penny you spent, where you spent it, what you spent it on, and most importantly, they could get your tax dollars. Wow. It's all going digital. The whole world is going digital. And CBDCs are the future, like it or not.
Yeah.
And again, by the way, I don't carry a cell phone. I did work for the cellular telecommunications industry going back to the 1990s, when they had boxes in the trunks of cars and aerials, and been studying the radio frequency radiation of them since. And wow. The whole world's gone digital. And so I don't carry one. Again, I only put data, University of California, Berkeley. If you're on a cell phone for 17 minutes a day for 10 years, your chances of getting a brain tumor only increase by 60%. So everything's going to be digital. Everything. The stable coin, on and on and on. Everything is going digital. They're going to do away from dirty cash to digital trash. That's the way it's going to go.
Very, very interesting. So one nice comment that was put, I want to share it with all of you here, guys. And this is for you, Gerald. Here's what the S put. How come Celente never ages?
You know what? I'll tell you one of the reasons why. This is the first book I worked on in the 1980s.
Natural healing.
And I have an honorary doctorate from the National University of Health Sciences. And I do the best I can. And that's one of the things I recommend to everybody. Get in the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Indeed.
You're in the fight for your life. And I don't want to become an inmate in a nursing home. And so I try to stay in the best shape I can. And you think I want to work out every day? I do it every day, just basically.
Yeah.
And by the way, I also had my own school. I taught close combat for a lot of years. And I'm very blessed. I had a great guy, John Perkins, may he rest in peace. And his teacher was Brad Steiner, who was the top top close combat guy in America, who used to write articles for the Trends Journal, by the way. He passed away. So I try to do the best I can to stay in shape I can. And that's why, I by the way, I'm Italian. I drink wine every day. But anyway, so it's so important. And the other thing for everybody, do something positive in any way you can for anybody that you can. And in anything that you can. Accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. Do what you can.
Indeed. Well, we can't thank you enough, Gerald, for we're truly, on behalf of the entire community, I say thank you for carving out this time for us here, sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience, and sharing your words of wisdom. So we are very, very, very grateful, and we look forward to having you again next time.
Thank you so much.
You take care, my friend. All right. Bye-bye. Guys, hope you enjoyed listening to Gerald. A straightforward guy. He is a straight shooter, doesn't need to sugarcoat it. And that's usually where you distinguish between people. There are those who talk, and there are those who follow through, and there are those who talk straightforward. He's one of those. And we're grateful to have him here. And I will be reaching out to him again. We'll have him again on the channel here to share his words of wisdom. He's been around long enough to know. Remember, Gerald was born in 1946. He's seen a lot. So somebody with that many experience, you truly want to take a step back and listen to what they have to say. So in any event, I hope you enjoyed it. And remember to join me tonight at 21:30 for my conversation with Anna Tangen. I'll be reaching out to him in Beijing. I did put the link for you in the chat box right there. And I look forward to seeing you next time. As always, remember, geopolitics impact your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.